This is Too Long for a Voice Note, a podcast about everything and nothing at the same time, presented by Claire
and Enzo. Our podcast is produced in London. Some conversations are just too long for a voice note.
Hi guys, she's Claire.
And he's Enzo.
This is Too Long for a Voice Note. Hey guys.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you so
Welcome
much
back.
for joining us for another episode of the podcast. How are you, Enzo?
Oh, good. I always feel like when we start, I always say hi twice for some reason, because I say hi Claire, and then it's like hi guys. It's like what he's saying all the time.
Hi.
I realized that last
Yeah.
week is too many highs, but well, this is
Exactly.
what it is, guys. This is what it is. It's been okay. How's your week, Claire?
Yeah,
How's everything
not
going?
bad, all good. I have been nothing really interesting to report.
Like my life is boring.
Well, you know, I was watching something quite good on Netflix.
What?
I don't think I told. I actually genuinely haven't told you about this. It's called.
Tell me what you're hiding from me, Claire.
It's called Sweet Tooth. Have you heard of it?
No.
So my best friend
Yeah.
Wince, hello Wincy.
Hello,
She
Wincy.
told me to watch it, and initially I didn't really like the sound of it because it's quite fantasy, actually,
Okay.
and that's not really a genre that I tend to like, apart from like obviously Lord of the Rings. But I don't really gravitate towards fantasy.
Yeah.
But without spoiling it too much, essentially, the world has been infected by a big virus that's killing everyone. So I know that might sound like, oh fuck, I don't want to hear
But
about
it's
this
not
again.
that, uh-huh.
But it's really interesting. So something's happening with like the babies that are being born,
Okay.
and then there's like a new situation.
Is
I
it
don't
like a
want to
new
spoil.
series kind of thing?
Brand new, and it's
Okay.
like always it's like top in the charts in the UK and the US. I think you would like it.
What is the
because-
main selling point of it, apart from the virus?
Well, it's very. I think it's quite philosophical in a way because
Okay.
it's very much about like kind of the environment, about humans, like maybe a lot of thoughts that we've taken away from the pandemic as well.
Okay. That's interesting.
Kind of the way that we treat people that are different to us, maybe.
Okay.
And you're following this child called who's Sweet Tooth. And this
That's
guy,
a-
they
that's
kind of
right,
find each other, and they're kind of like an unlikely duo, and it's a really touching like
Oh,
friendship.
Okay, that's cute.
But it is quite scary.
You think it's you're like
I'm
I'm
like-
scared? It's like a bit sad or something. Or
It
it's
is very sad.
Okay, so you need to be like in the mood of watch something.
Yeah, but also uplifting in a way. Like it's
Okay.
it's very sad because it's very true.
Okay, yeah.
But it's also like
You
a
connect.
human bond,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you really care about the characters,
Yeah.
which I think is really important.
That's interesting.
Always. So I would really recommend that
Yeah.
for you. With
So
that
well,
being,
that's it. That's it. That's what happened this week, guys. That's done, and this is the episode. So bye bye. See you next week. Nothing else to
Done.
talk about.
just joking. Well, now I think it might be time for Claire's secret topic of the week. Okay, so my
Okay.
secret topic of the
What are we
week
talking
is
about this
something
week,
I've
Claire?
really wanted to talk about for a long time. I think this is very interesting personally. I hope you also think it's interesting. I would love to hear Enzo's opinion on this. But I really want to talk about hustle culture.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah. Hustle.
So I've got some stuff
Yeah.
to read. I was actually doing some research about this in preparation
Okay.
for the episode. So I'm just going to read a definition of hustle culture just in case you haven't heard what it is. So in a nutshell, hustle culture means constant working. It means devoting as much time in your day as possible to working or hustling. There's no time out or time in at work. Work is done in the office, outside of the office, at home, in coffee shops, anywhere. And in a world constantly on the go and equipped with the tools to achieve that, working constantly on the go is completely possible.
So it's basically non-stop working all the time.
Completely just non-stop working and never taking a break. Now,
Okay.
this has really kind of been developing over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's name that often goes hand in hand with hustle culture is Elon Musk. So that he's a poster
Probably,
boy for it.
yeah.
And he said that to get what you want in life, you have to work 80 hours a week, peaking at about 100 hours. Yeah, and
Lots
I
of
want to
hours.
obviously talk about why this is happening. I think a big reason as to why it's happening, I don't know what you think, but it could be a lot to do with social media and the
Probably.
rise of that, and the fact
I
that,
think so, yeah.
you can work all hours of the day, and it's that kind of thing of like, if you just put in more work, then you can make it. And that kind of thing. We'll talk about the symptoms in a second. We'll talk about ways to kind of reject it, why it's bad.
Yeah.
But one thing that... go ahead.
No, like...
No,
I feel like it's easy to say for Elon Musk that you can work all these hours a day. because he has a lot of privilege and he has a really good set life with lots of money.
That's a good point.
And lots of opportunities. So if you have everything covered, which included your health, or at least you can go to a doctor and blah blah blah. You have you have the houses, you have the
like someone cooking for you.
You have the chef, you have the trainer, you have everything you need. Of course, you can work all these hours a day, but it's impossible to work like 100 hours a week when you have to like commute, cook, worry about your family, blah blah blah. It's not like he doesn't worry about his family, but I think that's part of it as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And also, I think when you are working on something that it's your dream, it's also easier. When you have a job because your job, you need a job to pay your bills, and that's it.
And also, if you're getting paid incredibly well to justify it, it's sort of like, if we work even more hours in our like set jobs, we're not going to get paid anymore. But that's kind of a different thing for him when he's probably getting paid a lot.
Yeah.
I think one thing I've really noticed, one reason why I did want to talk about this, to be honest, was I wonder if we both do have a touch of this. And I think that it's a very sort of like addictive mentality. And I think maybe for a lot of people in our generation, I think it might be a thing that's like very common. Like it's kind of maybe also being kind of like creatives as well.
For sure, that's probably connected.
It's kind of unusual if somebody doesn't have a side hustle. And, there's kind of like this joke or like a meme going around that like people are like, why can't you just have a hobby? Why does it have to be a side hustle? Like, why do you have to turn it into a business? And I think that is a thing that we both actually struggle with a little bit. Like, why not just enjoy it? Why do you need to try and like make a thing out of it?
You don't think because it gives you like a extra feeling of achievement kind of thing? Like if you just a hobby, it's like, oh yeah, something you do on the side, but it's not like goal towards it. It's just something you do, but if you don't, it's okay as well. But when you turn into a business because you want to have like some result, like you can touch it in a way, even if the result is like, we could say the podcast is our one of our side hustles, and why? I mean, we want to have it like as a result, so we do it like every single week, and we do a lot of. We don't stop, and we always create a thing because we want to have some thing at the end that it rewards us, or we're like, oh, this is like our. It's not a hobby, but I think it's not because we want always something that has like a final thing that it means something else.
I get what you mean.
It's not like something like it's there, and if it's not, it's okay as well.
I get what you mean, but do you think that final thing is kind of like money for you? Like, is that something that would kind of motivate you? Because that's the difference, right?
Even though we're not getting money now, if you want to donate to us money, that would be good.
One day. But yeah, that's the thing, and it's sort of like I think that's what makes a hobby and a side hustle different.
It's a good point. Yeah,
I would say, and is that a really good thing to strive for? Because obviously, I think it kind of goes without saying, like the root of this hustle culture is capitalism, and if you actually look at it from the outside, it's like working until you're dead. Like your value is based on your productivity, and I think that's something I definitely feel, and I think that's actually really wrong.
It's really wrong. Yeah.
But then I also think that what's the kind of line between like we're both ambitious, like we want to take the podcast seriously, we take the other things that we work on seriously as well. So it's sort of like that thing of like you want to take it seriously, but then you don't. It's a hard balance.
I have a question for you.
Tell me.
You had like maybe, let's say you have your main job, like it's 8 hours a day, and this main job gives you like enough money. Let's say 100K a year. So with 100K, you're covering with all your basic needs. Also, you can buy a house and you can have a car. Blah blah blah. If you had that, you think you will work as hard on your like hobbies or like side things? Do you think you will have other extra things? Because I'm feeling sometimes, even though we don't, as we say, like we don't have money out of this now, maybe in the future it will be cool, but maybe it's not our main motivation to have like money. But I guess if you have all that covered, whatever you do won't ever be driven by the money, so you'll be more relaxed about it. So
I think it's a good question. I think the thing is like I just can't imagine not having a side hustle, and I think you're the same.
But it's more because we're creative as well.
Yeah, it's not about money, because if I had a job that was really fulfilling, because my job now is fulfilling, but if I had a job where I was on 100K,
and it's fulfilling at the same time,
and it's still fulfilling, I would still want to do the podcast.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But then say, what if we earn enough money on the podcast to both quit our jobs, and the podcast is the thing? Will we then have other side hustles?
Probably.
Obviously, probably, because it's a personality kind of thing.
I think what
we're sick. We have a sickness. Why can't we just relax?
It's interesting what you say at the beginning, like social media. I think social media has a
Yeah.
really good impact on this, because when you are on social media, you feel like everyone is doing something, you know, like everyone is having something else, everybody's always doing like thing, even
Yeah.
if it's like a hobby, if it's going out, if it's trying this, doing that, the new thing. So you always feel there's so many things to catch up. So I guess in a way, your brain and you feel like you need to do things as well to feel like you are alive enough. Because I think like we nowadays in the society, we feel like being alive or living your life, it's having all this crazy amount of experiences. It's not about like maybe enjoy the smallest thing as well. So I think it's a really like a, you know, like before, like I don't know, being in the nature and like see the clouds or whatever, because it was nothing else. It was fine. You have like a healthy family and people love you around yourself, so that's good. But nowadays it's totally different.
And I think that's one of the big things there, because you kind of hit the nail on the head, because with social media, you know what like 500, 1,000, however many people you choose to follow, people are doing with their lives, what they're doing with their businesses, etc. Back in the day, you will just know like your family, maybe you'll have some close friends, like maybe the people, and that's it. So the comparison is wild now. We're so constant, like I want to do more, I should be doing more, blah blah blah, and I think it really, really feeds into that.
I don't know if after all of this pandemic thing it will make a change, but I think it's part of how maybe some of us were like trying to reimagine again how life gonna be. And like for example, like a lot of people that I know, including us, we don't want to go back to the office, because going back to the office, not because we're rebels and we want to like work less. It's not even about working. It's not even about the working time. It's how you spend the rest of the time, like commuting. That's a fucking waste time. You're just wasting an hour, 2 hours just moving from a place to another to get to the place where you actually need to work. So you know, it's that part of I wonder like if this situation now will create some changes, because I guess if you have the opportunity to work at home and to be more flexible with your time and to know how to organize your day better, it will help to people don't feel overwork.
Maybe.
And also I think this is part of capitalism, because they want to always exploit you. I don't want to go into like capitalism is all bad, blah blah blah, or any rant. But the thing is, like, if you work in a big company, most of the time it happens, they want to like overwork you.
Today's episode of the podcast is in collaboration with Consume, an eco-affiliated marketplace.
If you are an influencer, if you're a brand, this is the perfect platform for you. You know, we love the planet, we love trees, we love everything eco-related. So what happened, Claire, every single time you purchase something through them?
Well, and so every time you purchase something through Consume, a tree is planted in your honour. So how cool
perfect
is
match.
that? We're going to link everything below. Please, guys, do check it out. And
check it out.
Let's get back to the episode. One thing that I noticed, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I think sometimes there's this like real competition about how busy you are, and I can see myself doing that as well. Of like, you know, it will be so like you would kind of be like, oh my god, are you okay? If I was like, hey Enzo, how are you? And Enzo's like, I've done literally nothing this week. I just watched Netflix.
Probably you will ask me, you okay?
You okay? Like, are you depressed or something like that? And same. And I think we always there's just a like kind of, it will be so interesting if we were just like, I actually like went for a long walk. I wasn't on my phone. I really didn't need to answer my email, so I didn't. I was away from the laptop and like, but that is just, it's kind of unheard of. But I think that's kind of where, if you want to slightly reject this hustle culture, I think that's kind of one thing that, you know, you would kind of do, and not see it as just such a reward to be so busy. Actually, like resting, proper rest is actually a good thing, because I feel, and I don't know if you feel this, but I definitely was feeling very overworked like last week. Yeah. And I noticed that when I do take more time for rest and, you know, not being on the kind of like being on my phone, being on the computer, etc., even watching TV, there is more room for creativity to flow. Of course. Like, and then when I'm doing yoga and when I'm working out, I come up with more ideas, whereas I don't get that when I'm completely in it all the time. And that's kind of one of these things of like, you may be working all the time, but what is the quality of the work that you're churning out? So you're
trapped in this, so your mind can go anywhere else. Yeah. That's why, for example, like artists, they always say, like, you can't be an artist and have like a job as well. It's very difficult, because you need to be like on your total present and moment to let your like creativity to flow, it's very difficult to have like an 8 hours like job. I mean, you could do
Completely.
it, but the thing is, as you say, when you disconnect for a bit, you realize your brain started to open up.
Yeah.
So if you want to do something creative or you're an artist, of course you need time, like still time. You need time for like your brain to like catch up with things and create new stuff.
And like decompress and like not being like, even like getting so like churned up in like the day-to-day life, like not even, or like if you have a creative job, like I notice like, you know, my creativity is like so wiped out from my actual job, but then the leftovers, and it's just a thing of like figuring out what works for you. But I think this is a very toxic mentality.
I don't want to go like for too long into this, but I think nowadays, because for our generation, without sounding dramatic, it's difficult to get things. We need to work more, like, you know, like
I think so too.
I'm talking about like obviously privileged people from not now and before, blah blah blah, but you know, maybe back in the day, like my father, he was like he didn't have many big privilege. I mean, he was like an immigrant from Italy to Venezuela when he was 12 years old. So he went to Venezuela, learned Spanish there, and then he learned how to like, he liked cars, so he learned to fix cars and paint cars and fix them, blah blah blah. And basically, out of his job that he learned naturally because of life, he bought a house. He bought our house, like, you know, like his privilege were like, I guess, minimum privilege when you're going like from a country, like running to another one with no language or knowledge of anything. And for him was possible to buy a house. So imagine how crazy it is for us nowadays, with a career, with a project, with a passion, blah blah blah, with a smart, whatever, you can buy. It's difficult to buy a house. So you know, it's that difference of how you need to feel like you need to work more and go for more to have something else, which back in the day was different.
I think you're completely right, and I think that's a thing of just like the world isn't fair, and so you can work more and you can work harder, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna get there. Not to say that you shouldn't go for things and you shouldn't work and try hard. You 100% should, but I think it's realizing that like sometimes it's not always, and I think, you know, it's just sort of thinking really strategically about like where you put your energy and all of that, and like being realistic as well. Like we are like, the world is different now to when for even our parents, like that's only one generation, like so different.
Crazy is one generation.
So
I think we should go back to this topic again in the future,
too.
because I think we can talk for this like for long.
I mean, we could talk about anything for a bit too long, if you guys probably know.
Honest. But I think this is like a really good topic.
So now Enzo has 60 seconds to just tell us what he has taken away from this topic. So let's go.
I think let go. I think it's really difficult to get out of this, especially for us in our generation. And I think if your personality is very like always want something else, it's easy to fall into this. Then you put this social media and all that on top of it, so it's really, really hard because you always feel you need to do more. And I feel it's natural that it's like this, but you need to like find your own like limits, and you need to know when you are like actually hurting yourself. And also sometimes working like 20 hours more in a week doesn't give you any extra like results. So you need to know how to focus your energy, because you can work 100 hours and the result can be 0, and you can work 2 hours and have 1. You know, so that's really you need to like focus on what you
10
do,
seconds,
how
please.
you do it, how you invest your time and your energy, because more doesn't mean like it's better or it's actually a result.
So true.
So that's my TED talk on.
You're done. Well done. Really good
also.
recap. I think that's actually really, really true about like, you know, maybe thinking about like, let me just give myself an extra hour rather than an extra 5 hours, and let me see what 3 tasks I can complete really well and focus in that time.
I see myself in that. I see myself like working on something for like 5 hours and the results are nothing, and sometimes like in half an hour getting everything done. But it's about the headspace you have as well. So it's a bit like
someone's serious. Okay. So let's move on.
You're like,
I'm like,
okay.
So
let's now well, now it's time for Enzo's secret topic of the week. Okay, Claire. This week, actually, we're speaking about this today earlier. I want to talk about how our generation specifically changed religion for spirituality and astrology. And I was struggling to find a topic to talk about this week, because I don't know, I think this week I couldn't find anything that really like grabbed my attention or something I want to discuss. But then I found randomly this morning, right on time, an article talking about how our generation is changing what religion is, and we don't really follow religion in this. I mean, let's say like overall, and we just change it for like astrology, for example. And what's the reason behind that?
Okay.
And I found really interesting topic because I think we are pretty much like that. We don't go to church.
Yeah.
We are not.
I love this
we're not
topic. It's very
we're
interesting.
talking about it, yeah. And it's interesting because with this you change like I mean, this is really is not on the article says more millennials, but also Gen Z before and after. It's really spreading, and how like religion has failed for us for so long and so many times that we actually find new ways and new things to like kind of believe and like make us feel better and more connected with the universe.
Okay.
So I found that really interesting because I think we are pretty much like that. And I think like I feel, speaking for myself, I come from like Venezuela and my grandparents were Italian, so it's like mega religious, like Catholic, like really Catholic. And you know, like I grew up in the house of my parents that were like, I don't know how to say, like figures, like how you say like the saints,
like the
like,
kind of I know what you mean.
Like the saints,
I can't think of the word right now, but
with like flowers and candles and things, and you know we believe like in the stamps with the face of the saint, all of that. That's around.
It's so like Italian.
It's so like I mean, Italian, Latin America, you put them together, and it's like it's a bomb of this. They're like crazy. But it's interesting because I grew up with that, and my mom is also very religious in that sense. But she never forced me to like. She always realized that I didn't really care much about that part, so she always been open with it. But she's always like, you know which point you have to go. If you don't want to go to church, it's fine. If you don't, you believe on whatever you believe. So I'm lucky with that. But I find like interesting how like we, speaking for example us, how we don't. Our form or our way to get to a spirituality is not with traditional religion. We're going more to like these type of practices where astrology, like tarot cards, like crystals and energies and all of that. And I wonder like, why do you feel it was this switch, and what's the reason why we're like we need to find more time? I guess it's more like we're trying to find help from something.
I guess it is probably just to do with like a general, how we're kind of like sick to death of the old ways, I would say. And
in many ways.
You know, for our generation, like we were literally just saying, like everything, the world is so different. So now it's not surprising to me that we're kind of like, you know what, like that really hasn't worked for people before, like those before us. I mean, it has in a way, but it's also caused like a lot of problems in the world. Clearly the root of like a lot of wars and everything is based on, of course we all know that's not the truth, but like in the name of religion. So, but I think that when you get rid of that, I think as humans, like we're always going to need that, because what the hell are we doing otherwise? Like life is so hard to like comprehend. Like, why are we here? Like we have to have a meaning, otherwise like we're just like little ants on this like rock spinning. And I don't think it's in our nature like not to try to understand things.
And the thing about faith, because if you have faith on a religion, like God or whatever is your God or whatever is your religion, like, but also like maybe having faith to a stone or like a crystal, it comes from the same place. It comes from the place of trying to look for something that makes you feel better and like having like some type of hope. But different representations of it. I found interesting the article also. There was this mention of this guy that he's a Jewish guy. He's really like into his religion. He's very like strict with his religion, but also he's very spiritual with like crystals and astrology and all of that. And it said like this is like a new fusion, like it's happening in the world as well. How like people that are really into their traditional religions, they're like also mixing it with more like crystals and tarot cards and all of that. And that explains a lot of how the world is going and how we're in a place now in the world like we like to think, it's happening, like we're more open to, and we feel like sticking to all these traditional things are not really helping. And this guy was saying like, you need to do whatever it makes you feel good. If meets your religion, even if it's a very traditional one, with something that it's so different, makes you feel good and do something for you, you just go for it. Exactly. And that's it.
I think that's completely true, and I think so much of religion is just cultural, isn't it? Like that's kind of what people probably want to keep. And if you say like, I want you to give that up, what they'd probably be sad about is like the culture and the traditions that come with it, because that's what's important to us. It's always about that.
It's always about that. Yeah. Also, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people they are very like maybe against, or they really feel like skeptical. But I know this is a difficult topic, and I don't want to like offend anyone. But religion, we also believe in things, and we have faith for something that it's there, is superior, it's bigger, but we can't touch it anyway.
Yeah, true.
Even you believe in God, or your God is whoever is your God, but you can't touch God.
Yeah.
It's something that you believe, and you feel it, and it's awesome. But the same could happen if you believe in trees, and and the trees touch you, and like you can't just like be that.
You can't like write it off.
Exactly, because you're saying like I'm so skeptical, like a crystal will do anything for me, but you're also following something that it's really like.
But then again, aren't we doing the same thing with ultra religious people then? Because we would be like, that's not that. I mean, I think we'll be a bit more respectful than that. Yeah, but we could say like, oh, there is definitely no God, and how do you know? Because I can't see it. But then they can say,
which is the problem,
and that is the root of like all these different problems. And I always think this with like alternative medicine as well. People are so like, no, like homeopathy is like complete bullshit, but like, why can't you just accept that it might work for somebody?
That's the key.
And like a crystal might work for somebody else, or like having faith in Christianity might work for somebody else as well. And like, I think like as long as you're doing no harm
and you connect with something,
that's the thing. And I do think it's really like, it's for me like, and I think for you as well, like it's impossible not to connect or try to connect with something higher, like
for sure.
Because I think maybe it's our star sign, Sagittarius, very like expansive one to understand. Some people maybe are, and I would love to hear like if you are somebody watching and you just feel like no desire to kind of, you're just okay like accepting it is what it is, like life is what it is, and you don't feel like a desire to connect to something else. I would love to hear about that, because I can't really imagine accepting like we're here and that's it.
But that's important, because that's the thing about respect, whatever makes people feel connected or like good with. That's why the problem is when it comes to like, no, that's not real, that doesn't work, that's just bullshit, But yeah, if you connect with something, you connect with something. You can't fight that. And that's the problem we have all the time with these different things. And we go like, oh no, that religion is bullshit, that's not really God. Oh no, that you, I don't know, you sleep with a crystal, like, fuck you, get a job. Like, well, but connect with that. What's the problem?
I love sleeping with my crystal.
We know. I haven't got to that point yet, but you do you, girl. You do you. No, that's the thing. But I found interesting, like in the article, because then the article also has like a switch, and they say like how. But this is the problem with everything in our society now. How this also become a trend, and how it become like a capitalistic trend. And we're talking about capitalism today. That wasn't the intention, but it happens to be there. And it says like how. Because it's cool and it's kind of newer and trend, which is not new. Like this is being practiced from generations and centuries, but now it's being brought up. I guess after all these like dramas we're having like as a society for wars, problems, blah 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 blah. Now we're reaching to a point that we need something new, so it becomes so big because people are looking for new ways to have faith or to believe in something, right? The thing is that always go to the other way around, because a lot of people, they're just like, there's companies just like selling you like crystals as fucking crazy because it's cool. They're selling you like a I don't know, like a poster with like whatever, or they're trying to make like yoga a thing. So this was also like that, like how they're pushing this because it sells and because people think it's cool. How they're pushing it in a way that
like making it into a commodity, like.
Which I don't think is a bad commodity, but I understand where it comes from, the point of it can get into like a fake thing. Like a lot of people, they may not feel it and may they just go for it because it's trendy.
Yeah, of course. And I think you've always got to be careful with that. Like, with tarot readers and everything like that, there can always be people taking advantage of other people.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Obviously it's really like sad and wrong if like you say like this crystal's going to help cure your cancer or something dramatic like that, that kind of thing. But that unfortunately like is kind of the way of the world, and then wherever you have that and wherever people see, like we say, capitalism, like wherever there's an idea of like, oh, I can make money out of that, like people somebody will. That's who humans are. But
but I feel at least it's a trend that it's
helpful.
I mean, of course, I guess depends on what point we reach, because there's a lot of bullshit being sold, for example, in the name of the spirituality or like blah 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 blah. But yeah.
Can I ask you something? What spiritual practices do you think you have like in your everyday life?
I don't think I have many.
Do you pray?
I don't pray. I used to pray, but then at one point I stopped praying because I didn't feel like. Rarely, I don't remember the last time I prayed.
Really?
If I want to connect with something, maybe I will think about it, or like I will think about God, whatever it is. I think I don't know, it's the sun, probably the sun or something superior. I don't know what's its shape, and I'm fine with it. But I don't normally pray. I don't find that as a connection for me to connect with something higher. I just need to. I feel like I just need to be like present in the moment. That's it, and I connect with it with something, and that's it. But I don't think I have many spiritual things. I mean, I love crystals, and I have the crystals. Sometimes like I hold them or something like that. I like a smell or sage or whatever. Kind of this vibe. But as I say, like at this point in my life, I never felt like I need to get something like higher or like superior, like get into a religion to feel like.
You don't feel that. You don't feel
not
that.
yet. I haven't felt that yet. Like maybe one day I'm gonna want to become a Buddhist. I don't know. I'm gonna be like by Claire. I'm going to like whatever to become a Buddhist.
As if I'll be like, you'll be packing your phone, so you'll be on
I'll
Instagram.
be
like, I thought that you weren't meant to be.
Like,
I'm like, you're still using filters.
You're still using filter, bitches.
Like,
I haven't felt that need to connect. I don't know. Maybe that's why I think it works differently for each one. But I don't feel I'm disconnected from my spirituality in that way, or not to others. I always feel very like, I think I'm sensitive to energies. I'm sensitive to people, or what I feel in a place, or like I am. But that's fine. I don't know. I don't think so far I don't think I need to have something specific to do like every single day to connect with myself. Maybe I should have it. Maybe I should look for it.
When something bad's happened in your life, like you can think of periods where something bad happened to you.
Yeah.
Did you feel more drawn to that kind of thing? Because I think for a lot of people, like that's, when someone goes through a really bad breakup or somebody passes away, then I feel like people, because it's a horrible pain, a horrible emotional pain, and I believe that people get more into that kind of stuff that maybe not. But
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe I'm a cold bitch.
No, you're not.
No, I don't think so. Like when I'm having like a bad moment or a bad patch or whatever, I don't think I get more spiritual.
No.
I don't feel it, at least. It's not like
bloody ice block over here.
It's not like, oh my god, this is the moment to buy all the crystals, all the sage, all the Palo Santo.
Go into your room and he's got like crystals
and like had a bath on honey and whatever. No, I don't feel necessarily like that. Definitely. I don't know.
Really, you don't have a bath with honey, don't you? Do you want to tell us?
I don't want to tell you about my bath of honey, guys. That's why I'm looking so youthful and like full of energy. But I may do any of these things any moment. Not like when I'm going into a bad moment.
Yeah, I understand.
But maybe if I try to do it when I'm through like a rough patch, maybe it will help me.
Maybe.
Do you feel like it happens to you when you're like in a bad situation? You are more drawn to like.
No, I think I do things like throughout the week, for example, to make sure, because just for like my mental health, like I meditate every day, like
yoga.
I do my yoga, like I love, and I can feel that I'm a bit like or like heady if I don't make time for that kind of stuff. Like I was saying, like I was feeling really burnt out and like really overwhelmed. So I was like, right, stop this. We're gonna like meditate now more strongly. I'm always with my, I'm 24/7 with my crystals.
Yeah, but it's good because you found like these little things that when you're not at your best, you just like.
Take completely. And it's about tools and everything. And if I have to do a big presentation at work and I'm really nervous, there's like a certain little baby crystal that I will go to and. Who knows? But it helps me and it makes me feel good and it puts me in a positive mindset. So, but maybe if I'm going through a hard time, maybe I'll rely on that more. But like you say, just more thinking.
Exactly. I get it.
More about stuff. But interesting. We could talk about this for hours.
We talk for hours. For sure, we're going to come back to this as well because it's a real thing.
And I would love to talk about star signs more. Maybe let's talk about that in another episode.
Yeah, star signs.
Because I think that's quite controversial.
Very controversial.
One thing, I'll save it for the recap. What I'm going to say, I was wanting to say one thing.
Recap, guys. Okay, Claire, as you know, you have your 60 seconds of glory to tell whatever you feel and whatever you think about this topic, and go.
Well, it's a very interesting topic. So, I think that I haven't really thought about it properly, about like how we get rid of religion and we've kind of replaced it with something else. I've not really made that connection of like the fall of one thing and the rise of another thing. I think that it can be a really positive addition to people's lives, and I think if it works for you, great, do it. Again, as always, don't shove your ideas on other people. That's very important, just like you shouldn't shove religion on other people, blah blah blah. I think one thing I did want to say was that I think that you don't have to see it to believe it. Like, we are animals, and I think we're so disconnected from that, and we do have like more than 5 senses. We have additional senses, like we can feel energy, auras, vibes, like, and I think we know more than we think we do. And I think that it is great if you can kind of get in touch with that, and that could help you if you feel like you want to do that. But yeah, done. I think
beautiful conclusion.
Thank you, love. I think just like I don't know, I always really struggle with that when people are like, I have to see it to believe it.
It's a bit,
but I think it's a different kind of thinking, because I think we're probably not very black and white thinkers, and I think if you're quite like yes or no, A or B, black or white.
But the truth is that as humans, we don't see many of things, and we still like, like even if we want to go there, why we're here. I mean, you can go like, oh yeah, because this and that happened, but why that happened?
Why we're here, but also like why do we feel things? Like why do your hairs like stand up on your arms when someone says something, or like why do you have that thing of like someone's walking over my grave and I get shivers? Like, there's so much.
They can tell you there's a specific science reason for that, of course, but still, why?
No.
Like, you're like, absolutely no.
There's a crystal for that. You've got a problem, there's a crystal for that. I'm telling you. Just tell me your problem.
Everything.
It's okay.
Anyway, guys, interesting topic. I think
I
like both topics very much this week, guys. So thank you for
joining us. Yeah. Please do subscribe.
Do
come join La Familia.
La Familia.
La Familia.
I hope this doesn't sound too cringy, but
if it is cringy, then get over it.
This is who we are.
Just get over it, but make sure you do subscribe. And
bye, guys.
We'll see you next
I'm like,
week.
bye, guys.
Ben's like, I'm done. He's
I'm
out
done
of
for
here.
today.
Bye, guys.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.